Welcome to Wellness Made Easy. In this revisited episode from July 2023, Larry Logsdon joins Dr. Bob Martin, host of the nation's largest syndicated weekend health talk show, to talk about a topic that affects tens of millions, irritable bowel syndrome. What are the real root causes of IBS? Why are symptoms often misunderstood or ignored? And could a tropical fruit be the key to soothing your gut naturally? You'll want to hear every second of this powerful discussion.
We're going to turn our attention to the subject of digestive system ailments. They are on the rise across the board. Now you might be saying, well, why? Well, digestive system ailments include a long list of distressful symptoms. But you know what? Having symptoms of distress, whether it's in your stomach or your bowel, are really blessings in disguise. Now, I know that sounds kind of foreign to your ears, maybe. What do you mean, Dr. Bob? Suffering is good? It's a blessing in disguise? What are you talking about? Who wants to suffer? That's like, what? But once you figure it out, you'll understand, because without symptoms to alert you to health challenges, folks, we would perish prematurely. No different than how a smoke alarm or a fire alarm works. If that is not working and you're not aware that a fire is going on and suddenly it gets out of control, it could burn the whole house down, it's over. It's your onboard doctor. Symptoms are your onboard doctor to tell you something. Remember, we all have a physician inside of us. That's how, divine and wise our Creator is, warning you about something that is out of balance. That's what symptoms are. And to summarily just shut them off without any regard to the cause of them, or to provide that which will rebalance the body to get it back to where it was before the symptom occurred, makes no sense. And that's why the medical system fails so often. When most symptoms arise, such as stomach problems or bowel distress, pharmaceutical companies and conventional medicine theories seek to block or cover up whatever the symptom is that you're feeling, with the hope that it goes away magically and doesn't come back. But this often is wishful thinking, folks. Over-the-counter and prescription drugs recommended for conditions like IBS or irritable bowel syndrome may temporarily allay your symptoms, but the problem frequently returns over and over and over again because the underlying cause is not addressed. There are many reasons for gut and intestinal-related problems, including but not limited to diet, lifestyle, stress, obesity, infection, the list goes on and on. So, if you have ever wondered if your reoccurring digestive complaints might mean you have irritable bowel syndrome, also known as IBS, listen up. IBS affects between 25 and 45 million people in the United States. About 2 in 3 IBS sufferers are female. So to tackle this subject, I invited Larry Logsdon to be a guest on the show today to discuss IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome. What it is, how to prevent it, and if you know someone who suffers with it, what can be done from a natural perspective to relieve it without exposing yourself to risky pharmaceuticals. My special guest, Larry Logsdon, he's a functional food researcher and chemist specializing in medicinal and health-giving properties and the benefits of exotic fruits. Larry founded Tahiti Trader in 1998. Tahiti Trader manufactures and distributes noni juices throughout the world and internationally. And with that, let's welcome back to the program Larry Logsdon. Good day to you, Larry.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Bob. How are you this morning?
I'm well, and appreciate you dropping into the program. I asked you to come on the program to talk about IBS because you see it a lot with your customers who also report it to you. I have, of course, treated it for, decades. It's a very common problem. Let's begin with the simple stuff here, Larry. Please explain to the listeners who are tuned in right now the letters IBS. What does it stand for, and what should my listeners know about it?
Well, Dr. Bob, IBS is just short for Irritable Bowel Syndrome, or it's a situation where the intestines are in convulsion and they are, I would call it a spasm, and it's just out of control because it's being irritated by something that's triggered it to be irritated in short form.
Mm-hmm. And you heard the intro. There are countless prescription and over-the-counter drugs for IBS or irritable bowel syndrome that Americans are taking because basically that's what they think is the only game in town. You take something to cover it up with the hope that you're going to buy yourself some time. And this sometimes works. Some people will have, and I've known people who have had, one bout of irritable bowel syndrome, maybe the night before they consumed an undercooked potato, or they ran into some undercooked meat, or they ate too much or something, and they got, some convulsions or spasms or some type of symptoms within their stomach area, their abdomen area, and they may have had it. But I'm talking about the people who suffer with this IBS all the time, and then they end up in their doctor's office, and when they go to their doctor's office, you know what's going to happen. If they point to their abdomen, they may get a diagnosis of IBS. It's a very commonly diagnosed condition. In fact, it's almost like a basket condition that doctors use if they don't know what's going on, with the hope that they'll go ahead and prescribe a drug or tell the patient something, and maybe it will go away, maybe it won't. And so many people then leave the office without a solution, without an answer, and their symptoms come back, and they continue to suffer big time with this problem. And finally, they trek back to their doctor's office, and now we're going to do some tests. Now we're going to go in and we're going to do some barium tests or some x-rays, or we're going to do a further examination, or going to do blood tests. And that's all good. I don't have a problem with any of that. But what I have a problem with is the lack of proper management of a condition which is easily ameliorated by virtue of some slight lifestyle changes and or what nature has to provide that can rebalance the digestive system so that it gets back on track, resolves the problem, and doesn't require risky, synthetic, toxic pharmaceuticals. That's what I'm talking about. Now, Larry, we're going to take a short break here, and when we come back, I want to get into, does IBS affect, both adults and children, and some other questions about IBS, and eventually get to how people can safely and naturally help their digestive problems without drugs. Stay with us. I'm Dr. Bob Martin. All right, our special guest, Larry Logsdon, is with us. He's a functional food researcher and chemist, and we're here talking about a very common condition that affects between 25 to 45 million people in the United States. We're talking about digestive ailments, including IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, which can be excruciating. It can be mild, it can be moderate, it can be severe. People suffer with it endlessly. There's not a lot of answers in conventional medicine besides throwing over-the-counter and prescription drugs at it with the hope that magically it will go away, even though you haven't changed the reason why it got there in the first place, i.e. lifestyle, what you're eating, how your stress is, a lot of factors behind it. We've asked Larry on the show to talk about this topic and also give us some solutions from his vantage point, from a natural perspective. Let's get back to that discussion. All right, Larry, before we took a break, I wanted you to discuss with this IBS condition, irritable bowel syndrome, answer the question, does this affect both adults and children, or is it just an adult problem?
Well, it's mostly adults, Dr. Bob. Some children, yes, but mostly it's adults, those that are 30 years old and older, generally speaking, some younger, of course. But the real issue is, what is the trigger? What gets it going?
That's it. Exactly. Go ahead.
The real trigger is, believe it or not, folks, there are in excess of 10,000 chemicals put into your foods today that aren't good for you, and they upset the balance inside your gut. That's probably one of the greatest ones. But the one that we hear the most about is the digestive tract infections. People who go to Mexico, for example, and come back not feeling right, come back with Montezuma's revenge, which is another one. The one that's probably the biggest that doctors see are the emotional stress and tension that comes from being anxious and stuff. And then there's food intolerances. Some people can't, have milk products as an example. But there's lots of reasons. But the basic thing boils down to one thing. Your gut is in convulsions, and it needs to be soothed, and it needs to come back into balance. That's what it needs. And we have to make some adjustments in our life in order to get that happening.
So you're basically saying that the body is maladapting to a particular situation that it's in, whether it be an emotional, mental one, or a physical one, or a chemical one, and the conventional approach to this, and I've seen it over and over because people have come to my office over the years, many of them with the condition, who have been given drugs which did not work on the condition at all, or made them worse, or created a whole other set of problems that they didn't have. Now they got irritable bowel syndrome plus the side effects of the drugs that were prescribed. No extra charge, of course, but I digress. Larry, are there different levels of this IBS? I mean, in terms of the strength or the way that people perceive it?
There is different levels of severity, but generally speaking, around 40% of people who come to their health professional talking about their digestive problem, the GI problem, the IBS, about 40% are mild to moderate, about 25% are moderate to severe, and then about 15 to 20% are just off the charts and they can't go another step. They need a solution.
Mm-hmm. And in your research, Larry, have you come across any consistent, focused cause? Is there some universe? I mean, obviously, and you and I know that it's probably more of a holistic thing. As you pointed out, it can be mental, it can be physical, it can be chemical, environmental. But from the vantage point, have you seen some common denominator as to the exact cause of IBS? Because everybody's looking for, that Hail Mary, there it is, that's the problem on the vast majority of people, or is it just a smorgasbord of potential problems that people face every day?
I think it's more or less a smorgasbord. There are individuals who will say, I shouldn't have had that darn yogurt because now my tummy's all upset. And you'd say, well, how come yogurt's getting you upset? Well, it's probably the milk. And the milk has something in it that your tummy doesn't like. And it's just convulsing because it doesn't like that. And generally speaking, what's really happening in the gut is that there's protective lining in the gut. And if the protective lining isn't built up to be protecting, obviously, it's going to then irritate the lining underneath. That's what's going on. And that lining is so important to us. And the people who are dieting all the time and perhaps using yogurt to help them with their diet are finding that their lining is being compromised, and this is what's causing so many of these problems.
Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, our special guest is Larry Logsdon. He's a functional food researcher and chemist. We're talking about irritable bowel syndrome, something that affects tens of millions of people every day. A lot of them are going from one doctor visit to the next and one day to the next, wondering when the next shoe's going to drop because they're going to suffer. With your research and experience, Larry, what are some of the natural ways that you know of to prevent IBS or irritable bowel syndrome? And if you suspect somebody already has the diagnosis, what are some of the safe and effective ways to rebalance the digestive system so that people can manage it without risky drugs?
Well, Dr. Bob, if you look around, there is only a handful of functional foods that will have anything to do with this. One of them is Noni Juice. Now, I know this sounds a little bit strange for a lot of folks. What the heck is Noni Juice? Well, I'll tell you, this is an amazing adaptogen, and it helps the body adapt to the stresses that are coming into your life. Like right now, when you have the gut just going into convulsions, Noni will help you to soothe that and stop that action, which is a big deal. It will help you rebuild the lining, which is what it needs. It will help you come back to pure health again. It'll take a little bit of time because this is your body healing itself, but we've seen it countless times, and I haven't seen another item around that can do what Noni can do for your gut.
Well, you know, on its face, people might be saying to themselves, Larry, well, hey, if that was so true and so effective, why isn't my doctor telling me about, just go out and drink some Tahiti Trader Noni Juice and be done with your irritable bowel syndrome and you'll be good to go?
Well, I hate to tell you this, Dr. Bob, but there's 3 reasons. Number 1, they don't say that because it's not in their book. They don't know a thing about it. They only know about the drugs they were told to sell. Number 1. Number 2, there's no money in it for them. When they sell drugs, there's plenty of cash. Mm-hmm. Number 3, here's the thing that's most important. Doctors today, they're good folks, but they really don't care about the outcome as much as what they're supposed to do according to the book. And
all right, I got it, Larry. Larry, we're going to take a break here, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation. I'm Dr. Bob Martin. All right, our special guest this segment is Larry Logsdon, who is a functional food researcher and chemist. We're here talking about irritable bowel syndrome, a very common problem affecting tens of millions of people. And I know a lot of people are saying to themselves, okay, well, I know what irritable bowel syndrome is. I have stomach problems. I have bowel problems with spasms and vacillating between diarrhea and constipation and cramping and all that. I'm on board. I don't care. Geez, I'll do anything to get out from underneath this. And if that's the case, and you're already going to try it, and you know that it's benign and very safe to drink a fruit juice that has this kind of medicinal activity to it associated with it. Tahiti Trader Noni Juice, including their island style and their natural and blueberry and raspberry flavored noni, is available at GNC stores nationwide, vitamin shops, Sprouts, natural grocers, and other fine health food stores nationwide. You may also go to TahitiTrader.com to learn more or order, TahitiTrader.com, or call the company directly after this conversation if you're needing more information. 800-842-5309. 800-842-5309. All right, back to our conversation with Larry Logsdon. Larry, now it's my understanding, and you provided to me before the show an interesting conversation that you had with a customer, a person who was taking Tahiti Trader Noni Juice for her digestive problems. You called her, you interviewed her, she gave you permission to tape her. You provided it to me, and if you would like, Larry, I would like to play that right now to the audience so they can hear a lady by the name of Brenda talking about her experience with Noni that helped to solve her chronic long-term bowel and digestive problems. So may I do that now, Larry?
Absolutely, Doc.
All right, let's do it. All right, Alex, if you will fire that tape, and then we'll come back. Go.
Hello, folks. It's Larry here from Tahiti Trader, and we're here to talk with Brenda about her experience with Noni Juice. Brenda, good morning. How are you?
Good. Good morning, Larry. How are you?
I'm great. And I thought I might ask you a few questions and try and share with our audience what your experience has been with Noni.
I am 56 years old. I had learned about it many years ago through my dad about Noni after we went on a trip to Mexico. We both got sick. When I came back, I just did not seem to get better. So I finally went to see my gastroenterologist, and he said that the diagnosis for my issue is post-infectious irritable bowel syndrome, which means due to an infection, now my stomach has an irritable bowel syndrome. He said that there's not much to do. He gave me some pills for the pain, for the cramping, and, to try to avoid certain foods. And that was about it. He said it would take a really long time to recover.
So you got it, like they call it Montezuma's revenge.
Yes.
Yes. You couldn't eat some foods. What foods couldn't you eat?
Mainly anything that would be lactose related, milk, cheese, butter. Wow. But it was so bad that even when I was eating something safe, a piece of grilled chicken with vegetables, I was so bad that could even affect me.
So the doctor gave you some pills and it didn't seem to help you. Is that right?
No, it didn't help me at all.
And so how did you learn then about Noni? What did you finally, what brought you?
My husband mentioned it to me and I looked into it and I saw that what Noni does is help you digest foods. At that point, I had nothing else to lose because there wasn't anything else helping me. So I started to try it and drink it every day. And within a month, I was starting to take some chances to see if I was doing better with certain foods. And I'm cured due to Noni. And,
nice.
Back to normal. It was really good.
All right. So what you were hearing there, ladies and gentlemen, was a lady by the name of Brenda, who apparently went out of the country into Mexico and developed some intestinal gastric problems as a result of either the water she drank or the food she ate, and came back into the United States, went to her doctor, tried some classic medical stuff, didn't work, and she found out some way, somehow. I'll ask you, Larry, how she even found out about Noni. Maybe her dad told her about it, somebody who had already taken it. But Larry, when we come back from this break, we'll get into that. And I'm also going to encourage people to have something to write with and write down, and we'll give you the coordinates of how you, too, if you have digestive problems, irritable bowel syndromes and others, how to get to Noni Juice, how to find it so you can develop the same value and benefits that Brenda did. We'll come right back. I'm Dr. Bob Martin. We are in our final segment, very little time left in the program, and if those people who heard that amazing testimonial of a customer of Tahiti Trader Noni Juice resolving her irritable bowel syndrome that she was distressed with, if you want to find out more about how to get a hold of Tahiti Trader Noni Juice, whether it's their island style or their natural blueberry and raspberry flavored noni, it's available at GNC stores nationwide, Vitamin Shop, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, and other fine health food stores nationwide. You can also go to their website, TahitiTrader.com. TahitiTrader.com, or call them at 800-842-5309. All right, we just have a little bit of time left, Larry. Lightning round time here. Don't choke on it. A couple of quick questions. Does Noni have any adverse side effects for people to worry about if it's this good?
No, there are no negative side effects. The only side effect you probably will get is you'll feel a lot better today.
Are all Noni juices created the same? That there may be other products in the marketplace?
No, they're not. Tahiti Trader, we include a great deal of the Noni pulp. That's where all the goodness is. Like an orange juice, you find all the pulp is where the goodness is. We put that in there, and the island style is the one you want if you're going to work on your IBS problem.
You kind of beat me to that one. I was going to ask you about the island style form of Tahiti Trader Noni Juice and what causes that to work so well on IBS and the stomach and other gut complaints. What is it that makes that work real quickly?
Well, it's a fermented juice. It has tremendous amount of fruit solids, which is where you're going to get all the nutrients, and they go to work in your gut because they need digestion, and when they go in there, they start to make it work.
Excellent. Get strong, folks. Stay strong and put something in your body that when that stuff comes down at you, and it's going to eventually happen if you're eating food, sooner or later, make yourself more resilient, more resistant to these things happening, and get over them quickly if you do get them with Tahiti Trader Noni Juice, including their island style. That's what you're looking for. They also have another one that's delicious as well, natural blueberry and raspberry flavored noni. They're all available at finer health food stores nationwide, including GNC stores, Vitamin Shop, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, and other fine health food stores nationwide. Now, beyond this conversation, if you want to learn more about the amazing medicinal values and health-giving benefits of Tahiti Trader Noni Juice, go to their website, TahitiTrader.com. TahitiTrader.com, or pick up the telephone Monday morning, normal office hours, and give them a call, and they will help direct to get that information to you that you seek about Tahiti Trader Noni Juice. 800-842-5309. 800-842-5309 for Tahiti Trader Noni Juice. Larry Logsdon, thank you so very much, sir, for joining us today to get into this subject, this very, very common malady called Irritable Bowel Syndrome. We appreciate your time and look forward to having you on in the near future, sir.
Thanks for tuning in to Wellness Made Easy. For more natural health support and to learn about solutions like Tahiti Trader Noni Juice, follow us on social or visit tahititrader.com. Your gut will thank you.